Hi, this is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. You know, I got a story to talk to y'all about today that I'm going through. And y'all got to watch out for these type of people, because these type of people are really sick. Because of their upbringing is what reflects on how they react on other people, and bring drama and craziness into your life. And you have nothing to do with the stuff that they've been through. And they trying to bring that stuff into your life. They don't even know how to act, talk. They don't know how to express themselves the proper way. It's just crazy. But I'm going to tell y'all about this story. About 4 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, my grandson met a young lady, and come to find out, my grandson snuck her in the house and had her in the bed in my household. And I didn't want to talk about this story. I've been trying not to talk about this story because it's a sad story, especially on my behalf. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to get rid of these people for the longest, and I just can't get them out my life. My grandson was brought up and taught, even though he's disabled, he has ADHD, for those that don't know, and ODD. He's had it pretty much all his life. Everybody know that I raised him. And his mom and father, they had different issues and they couldn't take care of this child. So I took care of this child for them, However, they did what they thought was right, give the child to someone that will be able to take care of this child and give this child a stable living, And everybody knows that I'm the type of person that has to live in a stable environment. So they chose me to take on this child, and I got custody of this child in the state of New York. Okay, so, he had his issues, he had his troubles as he was growing, and I stood by him on these notes. But this girl that came into his life was the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. And I need y'all to pay attention, because I want y'all to understand where I'm going with this and why y'all have to watch out for people and families just like these people, okay? Now, we get it. Sometimes you come to people's homes, you see they have certain things, you think they have money, and you say to yourself, okay, this may be a family that I want to be involved with. Okay, we get it. That's why we accepted the girl. However, if I would have known that she and her family had major issues, I wouldn't have never accepted her to even be in my home, to even come to my house, okay? Now, let me tell y'all this story. She told us that she had some issues with her living situation. She was living in the street. I didn't want to take her in and couldn't take her in, because we had our own issues going on. I couldn't find a job at the time. I have a whole family of my own, However, a friend of mine decided to, help out and say, you know what, I'm going to try to help this young girl out and, bring her into my home. And she did. And she went through pure hell, okay? And every time I see her, I feel bad because she was just doing God's duties, the same as me, Now, this young lady gets pregnant, okay? The worst thing that could ever happen. But, the best thing that could ever happen, because I got my grandson, Junior. But she gets pregnant, okay? And now she feels that she's actually pawning the child off for money, you know what I mean? And, she feels like, my grandson owes her the world, And no, it doesn't work that way. It's done 50-50. Both families come together to help the kids and help the family, So, we did our part. We let them come and stay in our house. I tried to take her to the shelter so she can get a place. She and had the nerve to be pregnant with a second baby. You know, they stayed in my house first they were staying at a friend's house, okay, that they ramshacked and mistreated them, which led them to my home at this point, and they did the same thing here, and people get tired, You can't just come into people's homes and do what you think you want to do, because it's not your home. If you want to do things your way, you get your own place, okay? Well, she's been fighting for the last 2 years to get a roof over her head. Okay, and I can't understand why, because you have two children. Okay? So I get a call. They took the baby up to where they stay. Okay? And I guess they couldn't deal. They wanted to push the kids off again, I had told my grandson said to me, he said, Ma, he said, can you let my baby mother and the kids come stay with you? Because he think it was only him, that I didn't want him in my household due to the things that he does, which was kind of true. But I didn't want her in my household either because she's not fit to live in my household. When I say she's not fit, meaning she doesn't have the capabilities that my family have to fit in with my family, so she can't stay in my household. Because she messed up a lot of things prior, and I've watched that, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Okay, and the 3rd time was with me. God gave her 3 chances, to get it right, and she didn't get it right. Meanwhile, while she's staying in my house, her mom is claiming her kids in a whole nother state. Okay? Kids are running around with no insurance, can't go to the doctor, and all these different things. And finally, North Carolina decided to shut it down and do what was right and help these kids. But she wants to run up and down the road. She thinks that that's okay, and that it's all right to be unstable, with your children. Now, I've watched other young mothers just like herself, do what they're supposed to do, which is go in a shelter, whatever they possibly can do to make sure they get a roof over their head. I've watched a couple of them, right here in Charlotte. So you can't tell me it can't be done because I've seen them do it. Now, she realizes, okay, she gave me back the baby. I told her I wasn't taking the baby back until I got his documentation to make sure that this child lives the proper way. She gave me documentation, gave me all the things I needed. Now the mom is mad because the mom can't file taxes on the child. But you live not only 5 miles away from the child. If you felt like you needed the money for the child, then you should have took the child. That's the way it works. You can't just get money off of a child, and a child needs a roof over his head. It doesn't work that way. That's called being an unfit parent or unfit grandparent. Okay? Now, this child has been in my house. He stayed in my house for 9 months. Went up there for a couple of months, and then he's back. Okay? And this is his residence. Okay? He gets mail here. Okay? I take care of him. Because the government don't. I file them on my taxes. Now the mom is mad because she can't get money back for this baby that's not living with her. So I had to deal with yelling, arguing, screaming over money that you shouldn't have been getting anyway. Because the child wasn't living with you. Okay? The child was living with me, and I was sending money to you. So you was getting not only the government's money, you was getting my money too, money that was supposed to be in my household. You was taking money out of my mouth and my family's mouth to benefit you. So now you want to call me up and say, now, mind you, let me go back, y'all. Let me tell you how God works. This is how God works, and this is why I'm telling y'all this story. I told them, come get the baby. Okay, this is before I filed my taxes. I said, come get the baby. They said, okay. They get money. You can't book a $25 ticket to come get your kid. They never showed up. Now, mind you, I drove up there. I took my money and drove up there and got them because they said that they was about to be homeless and didn't have no place for this child to stay, and I didn't want this child to be in the street. So I took my money, me and my dad, and we drove up there and got the baby. Okay? When the mother that's bugging only lived 5 miles away. But she couldn't take the baby in, but she wants the money for the baby. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay? They don't want to do the mother duties for the child, but they want the money. They want somebody else to take up their slack without giving up any money. See, they don't understand it doesn't work that way, you know. So anyway, so we get her to sign a letter because y'all know all the courts is closed everywhere you go. You know, it's COVID time. Get her to sign a letter so I'll be able to take him to the doctor, file for Medicaid, do whatever I need to do to make sure that this child is safe in my home. She says, I want my money. What money? You lived in my house for over 10 months. You and both of your children. And I didn't get $1 for you. I didn't get $1 for your other child. And I didn't get $1 for this one. Okay? I'm going to go back, y'all. This is where God intervened. Because he knew that this was going to happen. See, God always knows when things are going. I had a memorial to go to. You know, I had lost a family member. And we had to go up north. So we called them and said, hey, we want you to take the baby so we can go to the memorial, you know. Nobody really wants to deal with a baby while you were at a memorial. So they agreed to it. You know, y'all the parents. Why can't y'all take them? Now I asked. I said, well, is he coming back? Or is he going to be staying with y'all? No. He's coming back. Okay. Then I get a call saying, oh, we can't take the baby while you go to your memorial because we have no place to go. Okay, now I'm stuck in a bind. Okay, but I accept it. I take the baby. God gave them 2 chances to come and get their child if they wanted the money bad enough. Okay? You can't have children and just treat them any kind of way and just think that you're going to pawn them off for money. You can't do that. Okay? When you have a child, you have to love and care for this child no matter what. Now, I'm going to use this for instance. My little man got sick a couple of days ago. He was really, really sick. And I had to be the bearer. And he was throwing up. I had to be the bearer. And I had to clean it up. I had to give him a bath. Matter of fact, it took me about 3 hours of my time to get him right. Okay? As a parent. As a grandparent. Change his diapers every night, every day. Give him a bath every day. Take him to the doctor. Do whatever's needed for this child. But you want to reap the benefits. It doesn't work that way. Okay? People think that they could just use and use and use you and pawn. And see, and I'm talking about this because boys, especially y'all young men, these girls, if they think you have any kind of money, they will have babies and try to destroy your life. Okay? Now, being that my grandson was raised, even though, he has his ways of, acting out or whatever he does, and people can't deal with him, he still was raised to stand by his family and his kids. Because that's the way my family brought me up, and that's the way I brought him up. Okay? Now, let me tell you something. When I took in my grandson when he was young, never once did I have to argue with my daughter or his father. Never once. Not about money, not about the care of him. Never once. Okay? The arguments didn't start coming until Jair got grown and Jair wanted to lie about certain things. And then when they found out it was what was the real truth, it ceased. However, he has gotten his life caught up with these people that's just no good. Okay? And see, what they thought was, they thought that they was going to continue to get money from me and be all caught up in my life. But I had to end that because they brought too much chaos to my life, and that's not how my family lived. That's not how I live. So the other way of keeping a hold of me was through the child. But it's not my responsibility to take care of somebody else's child. Not only it's not my responsibility, I'm doing it a second time around. Okay? I did it for him. And here it is, I'm doing it again. Okay? Now, God made a way for them to get their child, even though they fucked up their money. Excuse my language, y'all, because I ain't supposed to curse on here. Even though they messed up their money and didn't come and get the child like I asked. God still made a way for them to get their child before I filed taxes. Now, what do y'all expected me to do? Just continuously take money out of my pocket to take care of y'all child while y'all reap benefits? And I have a kid of my own? It doesn't work that way. You're not going to keep taking money out of my mouth. You did that when my grandson was 17. For 2 years. Okay, you did that. Now that he's 18, it stops. It's his choice now. I'm no longer involved. So you think by pawning your son off, you think you're going to reap the benefits from that. It doesn't work that way. Especially when you're not doing your part as a parent and you're not doing what you're supposed to do to help the child. See, now I want y'all to understand this. All they can think about money. That's all they think about is money, but they're not thinking about the welfare of the child and keeping the child stable. In a stable environment where he's going to be loved and taken care of the proper way. Okay? So now, their theory is, oh, we get the child. Y'all can have the child. I'm fine with that. I'm not here to keep nobody's kid. But you're not going to pawn your child off on me. You're not going to do that. And see, this is what people do. This is what people do. So you have to watch out for this type of thing. Okay? And this is why I'm telling y'all about it. I didn't want to talk about this situation. Y'all know I always tell y'all stories so y'all will learn how to stay away from certain type of people. I didn't want to talk about this one because it's an immediate family. You know what I mean? And I really didn't want to exploit these people. But I'm at the point, enough is enough. Either you're going to love the child and do right by him, or you're going to let him go. Okay? You're not going to keep running him up and down the road. And as soon as y'all see that benefits don't come your way, now you want the child back. Now, I'm kind of curious, you know. I haven't always been on my feet. Everybody has downfalls, you know. I had to go in a shelter in New York, you know, a couple of times, you know. And when you have children, they give you more than you have when you don't have children. So, you know, I just couldn't understand why this girl is not making it. You know, I'm getting all these excuses of what's going on. And, you know, I'm not there, so I don't know, you know. But I just don't understand it. You know. So, of course, you know, when you looked at the fact of the matter, it all looks like lies. But who's in the middle of this? The child. They're not thinking about the child and his well-being. Okay? I lived in this house with 7 people. Okay? 7 people. And had to feed these 7 people. Which 3 didn't belong to me. Okay? And this woman was getting money for these children while they was living in my household. How much longer does she think I'm going to be her fool? I didn't want to be her fool then. That's why I told them they had to go, but the baby stayed. So she calls me up with many yelling and hollering. I'm going to jail. How? The baby's here. Baby went to the doctor here. He's a resident of North Carolina. So how is that possible? Did she forget that black and white don't lie? And that sometime you could be opening up a can of worms that you really don't want to open up. And you need to leave things where they at because you may make it worse for yourself. Because you've been claiming these kids all these years and they wasn't living with you. And still not living with you. So why do you want to open up a can of worms that you're not going to catch any fish with? People don't think, you know. People, they just don't think. Now, I had to be all these names. I had to be threatened. I was threatened, told I was going to get my butt whooped and all this other stuff. They don't know who they messing with, though. I had to laugh at it because they really don't. You know what I mean? Somebody better tell them. However, I'm the wrong one to threaten. They don't know that, though. But anyway, long story short, the moral of the story is how can you be so ungrateful? You got away with not taking care of your kids, your own kids, while other people put rules over their head and took care of them. Because mind you, I told you how my friend took in her kids, okay? While she was out there reaping the benefits as well, getting their checks, and they're living in the streets, okay? Literally, okay? And you didn't learn from that mistake. And now you're trying to do it with your grandkids. How long do you think you're going to go on with this? You know, see, this is what people don't get. God is setting you up, and you're not even seeing it. You know, let me tell you something. God gets tired just like anybody else. Especially when you use his kindness to weakness. You want to call it a blessing. In actuality, it really isn't. Okay? And see, this is where people get it misconstrued. Okay? This is how you know the difference from God's work and the devil's work. Okay? And this is why I'm telling y'all this story. God will bless you with bare minimum. Okay? What I was getting was a blessing. And I'm going to tell y'all how. Because even though I had 8 people in my home, God made sure none of us starved while she reaped the benefits. And we had nothing. We didn't rob, we didn't steal. Where she was probably sitting up there saying, oh, I'm so blessed. I got all these kids and money coming in, and they staying with somebody else. I ain't got to take care of them. Oh, you thought you was blessed. That was the devil's word. And now God is setting you up for the final finale. Well, one thing is, God knows that I'm tired of their nonsense. God knows that this baby shouldn't be mistreated and pawned off and passed off. Does his father love him? Yes, he does. That's why he called me and said, Ma, please, because I know how you took care of me. Because if I mistreated you, you wouldn't want to send your own child. See, God does everything, does things in test form. You know, you gotta pass them tests. You know, you gotta be humble. You know, and see, this is the thing that killed me. You know, they called me up with all the arguing and screaming and the fighting, and everybody knows how I am. I don't take to that very well, and I don't take to it kindly. I didn't grow up with drama, and I'm not going to live with it. Okay? My family wasn't about that life. They wasn't with that drama nonsense every day. Anybody can tell them that my family wasn't into that. Okay? We held our grounds. We did what we had to do, but our family was not into drama. Anybody on Cortland can tell you. Anybody on 147th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam can tell you we was not about that drama. Even when my brother died, it was hidden after the fact because my family is not about that drama. Okay? I say that to say they want to continue to cause drama. Now, the person that I am, y'all know I'm loving, giving. I give away everything I possibly can. even when it means I have to go hungry. Everybody knows that. Life, that things that need to be at a halt, and people they don't want to respect that. They don't want to learn the people that they're dealing with. They're so used to the drama, the fight for a steal. You don't have to do that with everybody if you respect them. Okay? And these people call me up, screaming, hollering, telling me what's going to happen to me, what I'm going to do, but yet and still I got the baby in my household. Okay? So I'm laughing at them, When all they had to say was, and the thing about it is they don't know. I pay taxes. I don't get taxes back. So all they had to say was, well, we expected to use this child on the taxes because we're trying to get a place or whatever the case may be. And I most likely would have helped them. Okay? Because that's the type of person I am. But you're not going to call me, demand, and threaten me and think that I'm going to fold to that. These people just don't know who they're dealing with. Then she had the nerve to say, I'm scared of her. Oh, so I'm scared of you is why you've been taking all my money. Okay, that's why? No, you've been getting my money for the love of my family. Okay? So y'all see where I'm going with this? I got to deal with people telling me because I was kind to them that I'm afraid of them. That I pretty much are doing what they say. Don't they know that I do what I want to do? So they wanted to take my kindness for weakness. And sometimes you got to sit back and watch God do his work. Okay, because when God has his hand on something, it will come to play. Now, this same woman, like I said, has been getting money for these kids, not only from the government, but from me. Okay, taking the money out of my household to so-called help these kids that you wasn't even taking care of. So now God is setting her up for the finale. You want to open up doors or cans of worms that you're not going to expect what's going to happen. Okay? So now, people, like I said, the reason I'm telling you this story because there's people out here like this. Okay, me and my girlfriend, we ain't the best of friends. The girl that took the kids in, we ain't the best of friends, but we are friends. And she did it on the behalf of me because she likes me. She didn't know these people from Adam. But God said, help her, because she knew I needed help. She knew that they needed help. Okay, I was already dealing with a lot with my grandson. God has given these people the chance to get it right. And see, this is what God does. He gives you chance behind chance behind chance to get it right. And when you don't get it right, he will move in your life. Okay? He will move in your life. This is the way it works. See, that's why I try to tell people, understand God. Understand how he do things. You may get it wrong the first time. Okay, you didn't know. But once he shows you and teaches you, and you still don't get it right, that's when he start removing things from you. Okay? Because you're not appreciative. Not at all. God doesn't like drama. God doesn't like lying, mistreatment. This is why we have the instruction book of life. It teaches us what we must do to take care of our families. Okay? It teaches us how to take care of our mates, our kids, and everything else. Sometimes it's hard because we don't have the money or the resources. But once you get the money or the resources, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. God is always watching. Okay? And when things are done in the dark, things come to the light. So now, they didn't even realize what they were doing to themselves. Okay? And I sit back and I laugh because I was here to help you and you're being ungrateful. Okay? You just don't want your kid to have nothing. Okay? It costs money to buy Pampers. Matter of fact, I just bought a case. Okay? Wipies, food, clothes. Summertime is coming. Okay? They sent me with one pair of shorts. He needs some clothes. He needs a bed. He needs a dresser. These are things he needs. So now they want to try to strip him away from his stability because they want to check. What they going to do with it? Probably use drugs, drink. I don't know what they going to do with it. But they ain't going to do right by it because they keep going through issues. Why are you constantly going through issues? Why can't you get it right? It's because you're not doing right by what God is giving you. And until you do right by what God is giving you, nothing good is going to come behind it. And that's the way it works. So even if you got $1 million, if you don't do right by it, God is going to strip you and continue to strip you until you learn. Okay? A person don't have to actually take or mistreat you for you to see it. Because God is going to handle that every step of the way. He's putting it in place. Now, this young girl, she threatened me. She said to me, "You're old, and I'm going to whoop your old ass," is what she said to me. She didn't know that I was one of God's warriors. Oh, God's warriors fight too. That's why he keeps them strong. She didn't know that. You have to watch what you say. Your tongue can be the worst thing. Okay? That's why I always tell people to put the blood of Jesus on their tongue. Your tongue can be your death. Your tongue can be your suicide. So this is why you got to watch what you say and watch what you do. Now, this woman got me feeling like, I don't ever want to help people again. But I know not everybody's the same. Because there's been other people that I've helped and they've gotten it right. Matter of fact, I got about 3 or 4 of them, you know. They grown now, they all grown. But I opened up my doors, I let them in, I helped them, guided them, and they got it right. I can literally say each and every one of them I'm proud of. They may not be perfect, but I'm proud of them. Because they got their own place, they work, they do what they're supposed to do, take care of their children. So my gift of helping wasn't unrecognized. Y'all get where I'm going with this? It wasn't unrecognized. In other words, they appreciated what was being given to them. And they took that and they worked it until they got what they needed to become the people that they are today. But this young lady, she has major issues. Major issues. And it's sad, that people don't recognize when somebody is really trying to help you. Not everybody is just going to stop their life and taking your child, especially a toddler. Toddlers are a lot of work. And not only did she want me to take one, she wanted me to take 2. And my father stopped her. My father said, nah, we're not taking 2. You keep 1 and we'll take 1. Because you got to remember, we drove 6 hours. Or 4.5 hours. To get the one that you claimed that you couldn't take care of, but yet and still your mother only lives 5 miles away. The same one that could have taken care of your child. Okay? Now, I work. What makes me better than her? But she gets to reap the benefits. And she only lived 5 miles away. So y'all see where I'm going with this? How people think? So y'all got to pay attention to people like that. And this is, God has a time for everybody. Okay? If you've got caught up in a situation like that, believe me, God is watching. And God is going to help you through it. But don't allow it to steal your soul. Okay? And if you remain a God's warrior, He's going to make you strong enough to beat that battle. But just don't do it again. The only reason why I did it the second time, everybody said, oh, you shouldn't have took the child a second time. You did it the first time. Because I didn't have to go through nonsense with my daughter and her baby father about money, the care of the child, because they knew I was going to take care of this child and do it right. I didn't have to go through that. They didn't call with chaos. The most they could say, well, we know, the money that you get for him is not that much, but if I get anything, I'll try to help. And they would. Here's a little extra for this, a little extra for that. Not with these people. All they want is drama. So I didn't expect, and we learn from our mistakes, I didn't expect for a woman to give over her child to be a person that will be ungrateful. Because most people that give over their kids are grateful. because they're doing it because they care about the welfare and the well-being of the child because they couldn't do it. Because if you could, you would have kept them. I've took care of many children, you know what I mean? But 2 of which is my family members. I'm not going to put myself through drama. As much as I love my grandson, I love him to death. But God has to put an end to it. Because he's tired of seeing his daughter go through pain. With the nonsense of the devil's people. You got to watch out for these type of people. You know, no matter how much you want to help them. You know, and we're trying to keep our lives, you know, in a loving world, you know, and rebuild the love of what, you know, we was able to do. So back in the day, I'm going to tell you some stories about back in the day. Back like in the late 90s, early 80s, late 80s, early 90s, people were so loving. They would bring you in their home, help you just like you're their family. But then you got people like these people that start coming about. To where people is like, I can't do this. Let me tell y'all a story. I'll never forget it. My grandma, she had told me not to bring my baby father in her house. And I didn't listen. You know, I'm like, well, this is my baby father. You know, he's a part of me. Why can't he come in the house? I didn't ask questions. My grandmother didn't explain. She was the type of person that she wanted something, she wanted it, and that was that. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to explain what I want over the roof that I pay bills for. I didn't understand it then, but I get it now. Okay? So she told me, she said, I don't want him in my house. So she went, she used to go see the horses every Saturday. And he came by that Saturday. And, of course, I let him in. Somebody told on me. That resulted in my grandmother putting me out. Okay? I didn't argue with my grandmother. I didn't fight with my grandmother. She asked me to leave her house. I packed my bags and I left. Okay, with my daughter. I had nowhere to go. Nowhere. Okay? I got on the 2 train with my baby. And that's where me and my baby stayed, on that 2 train. From about 9:30 that night, it's about 8 o'clock the next morning. Reason why 8 o'clock the next morning is because a couple got on the train and they looked at me and they saw something was wrong. And the man asked me what was going on. Okay? And I told him, you know, and their stop came up. I'll never forget this day. I see it like it was yesterday. His stop came up. And the door opened and it was about to leave. And he said, are you coming? And I said, coming where? And he said, home with us. And I looked at these 2 people and I said, wow. Thank you. You know, all I could do is thank God. That's what I try to tell y'all. God has been in my life for a very, very, very long time. And this is why I know the way God works now. You know, it takes time, y'all. It takes time, you know. So anyway, I mind you that these people, they were on drugs. Okay? And they had 10 kids of their own. I tell you no lie. They're from 143rd Street. I'm not going to say their names. But they had 10 kids of their own. 143rd and, or was it, yeah, no, not 143rd. I'm sorry. 150, 45th, 46th, 47th, 49th. I'm sorry, 149th and 8th Avenue. They had 10 kids. And they opened their doors to 2 more. Because I was only 17. And my daughter, she was a baby. They had 12 of us in there. And guess what? We ate every single night. Every night. Every child in that home ate every single night. We had lights. And we all had beds to sleep in. And they were both on drugs. That taught me something. It taught me a lot. You know, I was able to get myself together, get a job, and eventually I wound up going back home to the Bronx. But God needed me to see that, how the way He moves. But because I was disobedient, and I needed to suffer only a little. He still gave me a roof over my head and food in my mouth. Because I didn't carry on that disobedience. Now, if I would have carried on that disobedience, them 2 people might have not ever showed up. But because I was disobedient, I slept on that train for hours. But it wasn't 24 hours because God sent somebody in to put a roof back over my head. So y'all get where I'm going with being disobedient and being disciplined does for your life? How God would send people in just to do His work. But you can't take advantage of it. Okay? I didn't take advantage of these people. I respected them. What they asked me to do, I did. You know, they would come to me and say, Jackie, we're about to go out for a while. You know, you're the oldest, so, you know, you got to look out for the kids. We suggest you take the baby in, because they had a baby as well. You take the baby in the room with you, and here's some money. Go to the store and get this, this, and this, and cook this, and we'll be back, okay? I said, okay. So I'll go to the store. I did what they asked me to do. So I'm going to just be honest with you. I went to the store, got the food, came back, I cooked it, fed all the kids, you know, and they was used to it. They was used to all, you know, lining up for their plates, you know, and sitting down, eating. I had to do the dishes, you know, I did the dishes. And, you know, I took the baby, you know, and my baby, we all went in my room, in my bed, and I had my own room. So this is the thing. God took me from one building in Harlem with my room in less than 24 hours to a whole nother building in Harlem, and I still had a bedroom. Now I just got a big family, okay, that I got to watch over because I'm the oldest, okay? I kept my area clean, made up my bed every day, did what I was supposed to do. God continues to bless me. Got a job. My aunt told me to come back home. Got more jobs, better job. went to school, my eyes started opening to certain things because I needed to see that struggle. But it was being done on faith because they had an addiction. Y'all see where I'm going? They might have had that addiction, but they had faith in God that they would be able to take care of each and every one of them children. Not knowing where the money was going to come from, and still brought in 2 more. So do you understand why I always extend my hand? Because God showed me it can be done. You just got to have faith. And this is why I love people so. Because it was done to me. You know? Now, y'all heard of that saying, pay it forward? It's real. When you see somebody in need and you've been somewhere and somebody's helped you, you pay it forward. And I've paid it forward a whole lot. When I seen those that needed help. But I was blessed that God had put people in my life that I didn't have to worry about with too much drama and negativity. And I was able to walk away happy. But the devil got a hold on these people. Okay? And this is why they can't get up. Because they won't change. And see, God made me the last one because I was the best. Because I've done it before. I've taken all these people in and helped these people and molded these people so they can become successful. And these people choose to do the opposite. So now it's time for God to step in and do whatever he's going to do to show him his way. Because they won't stop being disobedient. So you see how important this being obedient, it's very important. Especially when it comes to God. The more you're disobedient, the more negativity you're going to put into your life. The more you hurt people, the more negativity you are contracting through karma for your life. Okay? This is why I thought I needed to make a podcast about it, because people need to understand that you can't keep doing bad to people. The more you do bad to people, the more bad is going to come to you. Because you're actually creating it. You're creating that karma, that negativity. And especially when, let me explain something to you. When you involve others. Let me tell you something. This is why I treat people right. And I stay out of nonsense and I stay out of drama. Everything I do reflects not only me, especially in my business. Everything I do reflects not only on me, but the people that I'm affiliated with. Okay? Now, y'all know I got songs with different people, you know. And I keep a stable lifestyle. I keep a stable attitude. They know I'm a business person. I can be hard at sometimes. But you don't see me out in the streets. You don't see me doing negative things because I'm a reflection of them and they're a reflection of me. Okay? And the things that I do can reflect on them, and it can hurt them because we're affiliates. That's how karma works. Until you disattach yourself. And sometimes God has to come in and do the disattachments. So you can focus and go forward. Because you want to continue to put negativity on yourself and then reflect it onto others. Nobody told you to keep being disobedient. As long as you're disobedient, you will not get blessings. Disobedience. Let me tell you about disobedience. I'm going to use this for instance. Some people may call it disobedience, and some people call it sacrifice. Now, I feel like I want to get my hair done. But I know I need to save money. I'm just using this as an example. What do? Get my hair done or save my money? I'm being obedient. You save your money. A lot of people ask, why do you always get chosen? Because I'm obedient. Nobody's saying you have to be a fool. But to be obedient means you have control over your life and the positive and negative things that come in it. Some things we can't stop, like death, sickness. But other stuff, we can. We have control over it. We have control over how we act, how we think, how we react to situations. We have control over that. And God lets us have control over that. But when He sees that you just want to continue to bring negative into your own life, He stops you in your tracks. This is what He does. He say, hold on, pause, because you just don't get it. I showed you over and over and over and over and over. I gave you chance after chance after chance after chance. And you wonder why your life don't get right. Okay, you had some complaints. We're going to work on those complaints. And God will work on the complaints that you have when you pray to Him. This is why we pray. But God, why is this? We go on. He hears us. The universe hears us. And it works on whatever you need. It's that simple. But you gotta be obedient. You can't run around cussing people out, threatening people, stealing pretty much from yourself. You can't do these things and don't expect a backlash. And sometimes people don't realize it come when they least suspect it. I need the younger generation to learn this. Because I'm tired of seeing y'all suffer. Because of the disobedience that your parents have showed y'all to live in. And that's what it all boils down to. Some of it may not be your fault, but the way you carry it after you learn means everything. My mother was on drugs. I always had a roof over my head, though. But my mother was on drugs. But she also taught me a lot. Some negative, some positive. And I told God, I will not pick up a negative. And God decided to use me for certain things. Not only God, then you have others that will choose you because they see the obedience. And they know that they don't have to deal with too much disobedience. Because nobody's perfect. But if you keep repeating the same cycle, people don't want to deal with that. It's just like training a child. Yeah, I heard Junior in the background. Just like training a child. Children are disobedient in the beginning because they're learning. But once they are taught that whatever they were doing was bad, then they stop. But then you have some kids that will continue to do it. That's being disobedient. We give a lot of the children passes. That's why I say children. We say that children is children up until almost age 25. Because you're still learning. And you get some passes. But you're not going to continue to get passes if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over. And no matter how much you lie, no matter how much you cheat, God is always watching. And then there's going to be series of things that come into your life and you're going to say, why? How? Think about the things you've done. Even with your tongue. Being disobedient. Sometimes people could coerce you into being disobedient with them. And you have to learn to say, hey, I'm not into that. I had to learn that recently. God has been teaching me to say, hey, I'm not a part of that. I don't do that. I'm not doing that. And you're not going to make me. Because that's not what I do. You know, people got all kinds of different names for me. They call me Plain Jane sometimes. Square. And I take it. Because in God's eyes, I'm being obedient. In their eyes, I'm being something that they want me to be. And it's not their choice. Because God has the final say. We all will meet our Maker. Whether you like it or not. And you will have to explain why you were so disobedient. Why you couldn't love. Why couldn't you do things in a peaceful manner? It's all in the Bible. It's all in this book. And if you people would just pick it up and read it. And now they've made it so much easier where you can read a passage or a verse. And if you don't understand, you can go to Google and it will break it down for you. This book teaches us how to be obedient. And granted, we don't always be obedient. And we have to ask God for forgiveness. But if you don't make that change in your life, let me say this. If you stop fearing change, See, fear is the root to all evil. They say money is. But I believe fear is the root to all evil. Because people allow fear to destroy them. And they miss out on good things. Miss out on being around good people because of fear. Because of their disobedience. Because of their hatred. It's sad when people don't know God. It's sad when people are brought up in a household without God. Y'all know I always got kids, and they come around. They eat in my house, so I make them pray. When they first get there, first time around, they look at me because, they don't pray in their house. So they're looking at me like, well, why I got to do this? Well, this is what we do here. I introduce them, whether they do it at their own home or not. I have one child, she rides out with me, and she didn't understand. I pray every time I get in my car before I pull off. And in the beginning, she wouldn't say amen before we took off. Now she's starting to say amen. Because she's getting used to it. Whether she does it in her house or not. And eventually she's going to question herself and start to dig and say, why is this woman always praying to God before she pulls off? And see, this is the type of warriors that God needs and wants. People that's going to be true to him. People that's going to really love him and have faith. Okay? People that's going to introduce him to others, whether they grab on or not. And then when he feels like he can't grab you, then he deals with you. That's the way it works. That's just the way it works. I always have a saying, get your popcorn and sit back and watch. It's like a movie. Because God will do some things that you would be like, oh, I didn't expect that one. Whoa. God, that's how you coming? Okay. I respect it. Do I need to change some things? People don't realize God is real. And he's getting tired. He's tired of people not only being disobedient, but hurting his warriors. He's tired. Because he didn't intend for his people to constantly be hurt over and over and over again when he sent us out on a mission. He didn't intend that. I try to tell people all the time, love doesn't hurt. That's in the Bible. Love comes in peace. Love is understanding. Love is unconditional. Okay? If you don't have those three, you will never be able to love anyone. You have to be understanding. You have to sit back and think. You know, I told a person, I said, "Oh, I'm so tired of thinking." You know, they said to me, "Well, you know, if you don't think, you won't make the right decisions." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I just get tired of thinking." And see, it seems as if that's one of the problems. People don't want to think. They just want to go with the flow. It is what it is. But that's not the way it works with everything. Because some things God has control over. God builds people. You know, y'all see all these organizations out here. If he didn't want certain organizations built, he wouldn't build them. Well, he wouldn't allow them to be built. What's wrong, man? Want water? Don't spill that water. You're a big boy. Say hi to the people. Say hi. No, you don't want to talk?
No, we are in a boat.
Huh? I'm on the phone. Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm doing a podcast though. You is funny. Don't spill that water. Okay. Don't spill that water. Well, anyway, you know. This is just what y'all have to watch out for with people, you know, because they can be very cruel, they can be very evil, they can be very vindictive for things that happen in their lives and you have nothing to do with it, you know. And when you become that strong warrior, they don't understand how and why, because God has already built you for this fight. You got to recognize when God has been building people for a fight. Because if you don't recognize it, God is going to find another way, or already has created another way to deal with you because of your disobedience. God will set people in your life and in your down your journey. You know what they call it. Sometimes people are in your life for a season. Because they were only there for one reason, for whatever God needed them to do. But if God has allowed a person to stay in your life because of forgiveness, you need to be disobedient. Because if you're not, God is going to deal with you. People, let me tell you something. People sit back every day and say, and I say it again, why is this happening to me? Why can't I get right? Why can't this, like that? You have to check your own karma. And you don't always reflect the karma on you. Sometimes it comes back to your family and your kids. And see, that's what I dislike, you know. Because sometimes karma could come back to your family members because of something that you've done and you're not understanding why. And you think it's a coincidence? Nothing is a coincidence. That word shouldn't even exist. It should be taken out the dictionary because nothing is a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. Whether it's created or it's God's work. It all happens for reasons, and people need to learn to start following the signs of how God moves. When God says something is done, it's done. Whether you like it or not. Because he set all the boundaries that you will not win. No matter how much you jump, bolt, scream, holler, fight, if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. Most people don't understand, like, even with myself, like, I get on Facebook. All right, no, talk about this. I get on Facebook, when I used to get on Facebook, I get all these likes and, all this stuff. Now I could barely get one like. And, at first I was like, well, what's the problem? Damn, I don't understand it. But I had to talk to God about it, God showed me signs. Those signs is it stopping that money flow? No, it's not. So don't worry about it. So I don't worry about it. That's why it doesn't bother me, because it ain't stopped my money flow. So you see how God sets things up? He sets it up because he needs you to see some things. You really don't need this. This is what you choose to do. I've set you up to where even if you had this or not, you're going to still make money, because this is what I set you out to do. It's for a reason. What the reason is for, I don't know. It could be for somebody else's blessing. He just carrying me on a journey. However, I had to see that it's not stopping anything. That they're not stopping anything. And that's why I tell y'all, when God's hand is on something, there's no defeating it. So it's best to just be disciplined and obedient and follow what God needs you to follow, because he has a job for you. And you don't know what that job is. You don't know what his timely manner is. And if you're messing with that, it becomes a problem. And I had to learn that as well. People, God don't make no mistakes. And y'all keep playing with him. And playing with yourselves. Because I'll tell y'all again, his warriors are very strong. Mentally and physically. He builds them that way. He starts from babies. The ones that he chooses that he is going to use. He starts them out young. So, when you think you're going to overstep that, he will step in. I'm done right now. I just wanted to get that out there, and this is what I do. I teach, one day maybe I'll be able to go back to school, and be able to become that professor that I wanted to become. I don't know. I don't know what God got lined up for me. He be having so much lined up for me. It's like, I'm going to use this for instance. Everybody here in Charlotte, y'all know I used to do CNA work, home health aid work, home attendant work, all that work back about 20, 30 years ago. Okay, so I came down here to Charlotte, couldn't find a job. I'm in sales now, and I've been in sales now for the last almost 20 years. And it's funny how this thing happened, y'all. And I want y'all to hear me on this real quick, and then I'm going to have to get up off here. I started doing home care again, and it was okay, bringing in a couple of dollars, helping me out a little bit, I was still in poverty, but, it helped. However, they asked me to go and get my CNA license, right? So I said to myself, do I really want to do this type of work again? I did this when I was a kid, and my body's not built for this no more. Doing this hard, strenuous work every single day. But y'all hear me now. God gave me a case. right? One of the easiest cases I ever had in my life, okay, when it came to the actual physical work. One of the easiest, okay? Dealing with the person wasn't all that easy, but on my physical body, it was very, very easy, okay? So this is why I said to myself, okay, I'm going to do this, I can do this, because I went, did it for a bit, left, and then it came right back to me, and that same person, and I'm like, okay, God, he's doing something, so I better follow these signs. Let me take this case, okay, because it came back to me. Because I had actually just did it temporary, left it for about 3 or 4 months, and then came back, and that same person needed me and wanted me. So I was like, okay, God got something going on. So I don't know. Anyway, long story short, so they wanted me to do the CNA so I can get certified again or whatever the case may be. So I like to do all of that, right? Now, mind you, y'all hear me on this. I was trying to get into all these different schools for over a year. Couldn't get into the schools. Finally found a school that I could get in, okay? Classes started in January of 2020. My classes ended in March of 2020. The government shut down in March of 2020. Okay, so I couldn't take my test. Okay. Now, all the people that was in class with me, everybody got their emails. Everybody went and took their test. Some passed, some failed. I never got an email. I called them up. They don't answer the phone. The people at the school said they have sent the stuff several times. And I still haven't got an email. Actually, soon it will be 1 year that I have taken, taken that class. Come March. I don't know if y'all see what I see, but God didn't want me in that position. And people tried to force me into that position. That position is not for me. That's not where God wants me. Because if he did, I would have got my email. I would have took my test like everybody else. He might have needed me to just go to school so I know how to protect myself throughout the COVID because I was ill myself. And quiet as kept. Me taking that 3 months, going to school, taught me what I needed to do to get through this COVID. Through this pandemic. So I just needed a refresher course so I could make it through. So you see how God works? It wasn't meant for me to be a CNA again. It wasn't meant. That's not what God wanted. Instead, God put y'all in front of me. This is what he wants. So I have to follow the signs in order to be happy. Because if I didn't take that class, I might have caught the COVID. I might have died because I'm pneumonia prone. So I might not even be here today. So do you see how God saves his people? Sometimes we go through things and it may not even be meant for us to complete those things because it's not really made. He just wants you to learn something out of it. And I needed it. I need a refresher course. Not only for the COVID, but for my products that I was about to release. Because it's things that I needed to know about the body in order to formulate it right. So you see where his theory was? Where I was thinking I was going to be a CNA, going to be working in somebody's hospital, making maybe $18 an hour, which is no money, breaking up my back. But just see how God works. He just needed me to learn some things. Sometimes God can just be a lesson. He just want to show you some things. Sometimes you can boast, cry, holler, scream, fight, and you still won't win. So you let it go. And if it's meant for you to have it, you'll get it. Whether God gives it to you or somebody else gives it to you. Okay? I've learned that with God. And y'all need to learn that as well. Not everybody is just given, God, I want to explain this right. God don't just give you anything. He needs you to learn before you get it. Certain things that you need to learn before I give you grace. Because this is what you asked for. That's why I tell y'all the power of the tongue is dangerous. This is why you need to put the blood of Jesus on your tongue, I learned a lot. Let me tell y'all something. I learned a lot in Buffalo. Buffalo always stays in my heart. I lived up there for a very, very long time. And they gave me a lot of love, love that was like unconditional. And sometimes people would just walk up on me. They knew who I was, but I didn't know them. And they would give me tips and signs and stuff. Just like I was telling y'all about the Indian that walked up on me, told me about the eucalyptus. And this was a true Indian, y'all. He had on his thingy. I used to always go up to the reservation, and they wear I don't know what they call them with the feathers and the stuff. This was a true native Indian. And he used to see me always come up there. I would come buy cigarettes and buy candles and stuff. And he just walked up on me one day. And I was holding my head this particular day. And he said, he asked me what was wrong, and I told him. And he told me what I needed to do. And it hasn't failed me yet. So this is why sometimes we have to follow the signs. If you don't follow the signs of what can be going on in your life, you're going to miss it. I forgot somebody got a song out right now. I forgot who it is. And they're young too. I love a lot of these young artists. I listen to them because they're getting it. They're getting it. They're understanding this next era. They're going to be a beast. They're going to be love, good vibes. Because they're getting it. And they say, I had my turn. I can't remember exactly what they say. But something on this order. I had my turn, but I missed it. You can't miss your turn. When God sets things up and say, okay, I'm going to give you a chance on this one. Make the decision. And when they see that you can't make the decision, that's when he finalizes it. And once he finalizes it, you won't get that chance again. Ooh. I'm about to end this podcast. You all have a wonderful day, blessed day. I love you all. I will continue to bring the negative things that come into my life or in other people's lives that I see. so y'all could be aware of the negativity. For those that want to live a peaceful, loving life, I will continue. My name is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all soon.